Hey guys, what's up? I wanted to make a video on how to reduce period pain with natural methods. If you know my story, I've had endometriosis for a really long time, almost over 15 years, but have been reversing it and almost completely healed from it in the past 3 years. In the past, I focused on my diet. I went raw vegan and I would do a lot of fasting, especially on my period to deal with the pain. But in the last year or so, I have been not focused on eating, but more focused on what I can do when I'm actually on my period, because the eating has a lot to do with prior. How are you eating the weeks before and your whole month, and especially on your period? One thing I noticed was that if I had constipation or diarrhea, that would typically increase period pain. So I ended up fasting a lot on my period to try to reduce any pain that has to do with the intestinal tract and waist. But these methods are ones that I discovered just by being more present on my period. These type of things, what will help reduce it right then and there. So the first one is pretty simple. It's actually just getting out underneath the sun. The natural heat is just so wonderful. The body just soaks it in and it's so healing and soothing. So if you're able to, I would encourage you to get out underneath the sun instead of using things like a heat pad or a hot water bath. The sun is so much more effective. The next one is vibration, music. Well, that is to say sound. I used to listen to solfeggio when I was on my period, but found that that was too much still, and not quite natural. I still needed this, my phone as a tool and this particular playlist to play. But I started focusing instead on the subtleness of the sounds around us. So the sound of a purring kitty, or the sound of the wind in the trees, or the sound of birds, the sound of crickets or cicadas. Focusing on other sounds and letting that soothe you, and letting that vibration of the sound move through your body and heal you, because that sound as vibration is incredibly healing. And so oftentimes I will strum my guitar and just go through 4-chord progressions, or just simple picking things, and it's just really soothing. And so if you have an instrument that you can play on, a hang drum would be awesome. Anything that you have would be wonderful, and see how that plays out for you. The next one is honestly one of my favorites. It is a dry brush. I got a dry brush this past year, and I discovered that it was amazing, way better than any heat pad. I would use it on my thighs, on my sides, on my lower back, on even my lower abdominal area, whenever I would feel that kind of cold, aching, numbing pain that tends to definitely go down into the legs and up into the back for us women. And it was just amazing what it does, because it creates this heat right underneath the skin. It also is going to get the lymph circulating instead of kind of settling. And this seriously has been one of my favorite things that I've discovered using. The next one is breathing normally. Oftentimes on my period, I will start breathing more shallowly, and I think my body has this PTSD where it kind of it remembers the type of pain that I used to be in, so it gets a little nervous and caught up when my period starts, but that actually encourages pain to flare. So I try to remind myself just to breathe normally, not shallow and not super deep, but normally. In the past, I also used the Wim Hof method, which is a really deep breathing method and really gets oxygen and your blood circulating a lot. And in the past, I would do that to deal with really intense pain. When I first went off my painkillers, I started using Wim Hof breathing sets. I would do those to deal with my really intense pain when I first came off my pain medication. But I haven't needed to do that because I barely have any pain at all these days, and I just try to remember to keep myself breathing, because how we breathe is how we flow through things, and so breath is really important, just to remember to breathe naturally and relax and just be present, and it typically seems to flow a lot easier, be more calmer and peaceful, and just much more enjoyable of an experience. And that's interesting to say, because as women we don't think that we should enjoy our period, but I think we're meant to. I think we're meant to enjoy being on our period. The last one is praying. I spend more time praying to the Lord than I did in the past. I used to try to distract myself by watching TV. Some people will use exercise or just overwork themselves to distract themselves, and those are things that I've tried to do but don't work for me. Like, my body can't handle it. It only puts it into a greater state of distress and alarm and causes the pain to flare more. But some people that works for them. But I found that the TV actually encouraged pain as well, and that completely makes sense to me. But instead, I've been praying a lot more. I just find it's just a time where I can rest and be present with my body and love myself, and I can also be present with God and just call on the name of Jesus and ask for his healing to wash over me, and ask for him and the Father and the Holy Spirit to be in my presence to help give me the strength to move through this, to be willing to accept this experience and learn. And I just spend more time praying and just talking to the Lord and just letting my heart lead me as I feel called out to. And it really is also one of my favorite ways of dealing with period pain, and completely washes over me and soothes me and changes the whole experience into one of joy. So these are 5 incredibly natural things that you can do immediately when you are on your period to help reduce any pain. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.